Now let's dive into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jamal Starks, and let's queer up politics. Could one big, beautiful, bogus bill be the GOP's undoing? LGBTQ community hopes so. In a narrow vote of 218 to 214, House Republicans, led by Speaker Mike Johnson, passed President Donald Trump's signature domestic policy bill, now named the One Big Beautiful Bill. The bill was signed at a lavish July 4th party at the White House. The legislation slashes health and nutrition programs relied on by millions of Americans, including large numbers of queer people, while extending tax cuts for the wealthiest 1% of Americans. Only two Republicans, Representative Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Thomas Massie of Kentucky, joined all Democrats in opposition. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries delivered a marathon 8-hour and 45-minute floor speech to delay the bill, calling it an extraordinary assault on health care of the American people. The bill cuts Medicaid, SNAP food assistance, and Planned Parenthood funding and pours billions into immigration enforcement. Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign, said in a statement, quote, "This disaster of a bill has always been about one thing, funneling more wealth to the ultra-rich while hard-working Americans, including LGBTQ plus people, suffer." End quote. One of the bill's most extreme measures, a nationwide ban on gender-affirming care under Medicaid. It was removed after intervention by Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough and behind-the-scenes work by Senator Tammy Baldwin and Representative Sarah McBride. Still, LGBTQ advocates warn of severe impacts. The bill could push 14 million people off Medicaid, a program vital to queer communities and those living with HIV, cuts to mental health clinics, and stricter food stamp rules hit LGBTQ people, especially trans people and people of color. For Democrats, the bill has become a powerful symbol of what they call Republican extremism, and a political weapon they're ready to wield against vulnerable GOP incumbents in 2026 midterms. Both the House and Senate are controlled by MAGA Republicans, but by only a few seats. This means the midterm election of November 2026 will be a major milestone for LGBTQ rights in America. Ooh, well, we're here. It's I have so many thoughts on the big bogus bill. So many thoughts, but I revert back to this is what we voted for. And it's hard to put into words what this actually means, because I don't think you can actually, again, I go back to, I don't think we can actually lecture, explain, intellectualize all of the things that this means. And this is literally the playbook out of Project 2025. Yeah. I actually read Project 2025. I've sat and researched, like after a few months after his inauguration, I said, you know what? I've seen the talking points, but let me actually pull up the document. It's actually almost 1,000 pages and go through.
It's scary.
It's horrible, but this is literally out of the place. This is literally like if Project 2025 was a layout, the big beautiful bill is the Bible. Yeah. It's like, here, we finally got it passed. Yeah. We finally got it, and it's here. And
everything on it targets us or somebody we love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like every single thing on it, right? You're thinking about cuts to HIV, cuts to mental health services, right? So we're talking about food stamps, right? We're talking about Medicaid. I mean, that's older people, that's seniors, right? I mean, like it's, but of course the tax cut for the less than 1% billionaires.
Right. Yeah.
After how many times he said that there will be no cuts to Medicare and Medicaid over and over and over again, and they go and do it.
Stop worrying about that, he said.
They celebrate it now. You know, what's really scary about the whole thing is that, you know, part of this not only raises the debt ceiling that we're already in, you know, but it also...
Like $3 trillion more, something
but
crazy.
It also increases the budget for ICE. And the budget for ICE now is actually more than what the CIA and the FBI budgets are combined.
Wow.
Which technically, Trump has created his own basic military who will do whatever he wants at his disposal.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the scariest things out of the entire bill.
You know, also another thing to your point, I remember having this feeling in 2019 of something's off, and the pandemic hit. And throughout the pandemic, if you were paying attention, if you were tapped in, we saw the holes in the healthcare system as a whole. We saw the healthcare system buckle. We saw people die from a disease, from a microbial disease. And now I feel as though we've gone back and forgotten what happened in 2020 and how we got there, from this man removing pandemic measures placed in by the Obama administration, rebudgeting that money. So when we got into that horrible year, we saw all of the things fall apart. That chasm hasn't been corrected. That void hasn't been corrected in healthcare. That all of the things that were problematic are still there and has been exacerbated. And now we're back to full functioning globalization society. We're functioning. We're back. We're working. We're in cahoot. We're in tangent with each other. We're back to our old horrible practices of washing our hands, like literally, of being in close quarters with each other. People are going to work sick. People are out here sick. And this slams the healthcare system in such a way that I don't think people really understand what Medicaid is. I think people really think that Medicaid and all of these government programs are just for poor people, you know, when these programs are put in place for most of us are maybe 1 or 2 paychecks away from going on Medicaid. Most of us are 1 or 2 paychecks away from going on SNAP benefits. You know, people don't know how close they are to it. And also these programs help your local hospital. People don't know that. They don't know that half the things that are functioning here are because the ground is being held up by these things. And I'm pretty, honestly, I'm afraid for what's going to happen as far as people's bodies and health are concerned. Aside from the oppression, aside from people's hate and vitriol, your body is going to be affected, not only from the stress of what this bill means, from the workload that it's going to place on people, but literally when you get sick, what are you going to do?
Well, the rural communities are going to suffer the most.
The
rural communities, you know, because hospitals will close, clinics will close because there's no funding for them anymore. You know, could you imagine, not even for the LGBT community, but even a pregnant woman having to drive 3, 4, 5 hours to deliver a baby.
And everybody's going to be on a survival mission. Trying to see what happens, right? Because I'm instantaneously brought back to when I was a kid and my mom was a single mom. She was on food stamps, right? And she was on Medicare for a couple of years while we got back on our feet, right? If this was now, my mom would be with 2 little girls hungry without any food for her kids. And that would just be the standard, right? So then what does a woman have to do? You know, break the law or just, again, survival of the fittest. That's what they want to happen out there.
Yeah. And also, I don't think people understand that a lot of professions now, because of the salaries have not moved in the last, 20, 30 years or so, because we live in a more inflated economy. Like, that's not debatable. Shit is more expensive. A lot of the people that you encounter are on SNAP benefits and on Medicaid. A lot of the people that you encounter every day rely on these government programs. And I don't think it really has gotten through to people that your bubble is about to get burst. Like, this was a vote that is inflective, is shooting yourself in the own foot.
Well, it's detrimental.
Detrimental. Thank you. Detrimental to your own self. To all of us. as an American society.
Yeah. Unless you're part of that 1%.
Yeah.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.